What is up, guys? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're covering some more r/mi the butthole. If you're new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe and maybe that notification bell too if you enjoy the content, of course. And don't forget you can follow us on podcast too now, so you can take us with you wherever you go, and you can also support the channel either through YouTube membership or over on Patreon with different tiers and things like that. And with my faff being said, let's get in to today's stories. Much love, guys. Our first story comes from Shut Up Mate, Am I the Arsehole? Am I the arsehole for telling a guy with autism off because he wouldn't stop talking about something he knows nothing about? I, 29 female, am 3 years into my PhD. I've published many papers and I've been a co-author on even more. I've done field studies and teach at uni. Basically, I know my field. I speak a few languages and teach a group of people outside of work. We meet up once a week and talk in that language. We're all friends and it's very casual. Last week, one person in the group asked if they could bring a mate, Kay, from work who's interested in the language too. She said that her mate is on the spectrum and that he might not know when to stop talking. I said bring him along and we'll see how he fits in. The actual lesson went well and I think we were all happy. Usually some people stick around for a bit after and we just have a few drinks. This is when it started. As it turns out, Kay is interested in my field of study. He asked me some questions and I was happy to answer, but then it started getting weird. He kept arguing with me and correcting me, telling me what I apparently misunderstood and so on. It was quite awkward and my other friends tried to gently let him know that he was probably out of line. He kept asking me about my opinion on studies and papers, but in an aggressive, almost questioning way. The last straw was when he told me that I misinterpreted the findings of a study that I was a co-author of. I was sick of it and said, listen buddy, I know you think you know everything about this field. If you had actually bothered to read who et al is, then you'd know I wrote this fucking paper, so please shut up. Not my proudest moment, I admit, but at this point he'd been trying to beat me for over 30 minutes. He left after that but messaged me that he'd informed my uni of my discriminatory behaviour towards people with autism. Now I'm wondering if I went too far. Now, from what I know of autism is that when you're on the spectrum, you're not very good with social cues. So when someone's telling you to stop, you don't know when to do that. I might be totally wrong there, so please correct me. I'm always happy to be educated on these things. But I think that's what the case is, and it obviously gets worse the deeper on the spectrum you are. However, I would say that it's okay to call someone out, maybe a bit less aggressive, but I think it's okay to point someone in the right direction on that matter. So I would say not the arsehole in this situation, but I may be wrong. As I said, I'm always happy to be educated on these things. But let's head over to the comments to see what we can find. AJL Yol says, not the arsehole, definitely not the arsehole. How can you have read the papers and said you misinterpreted the findings when you helped make the conclusions? Some people need a reality check. Also, out of curiosity, what subject was it? Virtual Economy says, and quotes, he left after that but later messaged me that it informed my uni of my discriminatory behaviour towards people with autism, and then says, lol, not the arsehole, he's using autism as a shield against his bad behaviour. Muse and You says, this, exactly this, the dude is going to be in for a vile awakening if he doesn't curb his behaviour. Autism ain't an excuse to act like an arse and get away with it. Give the FBI Your Shoes says, some people with autism don't heed social cues about when it might be best to stop talking. From the way you described it, his ability to ask questions and correct you, I'd wager he's high functioning autistic like me. If you haven't had to interact with many autistic people before, I'd say you handled it just fine. If I were in your position, I might reply with, I potentially could have phrased it better, but I stand by my reaction. Not the arsehole. And for the first story, I turn it to you guys. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 1. And our next story is from Snorlax998. Am I the arsehole for exposing my sister-in-law? My 21 female sister-in-law, I'll call her Sarah, has been with my brother for about 6 years now. She is 38, my brother is 39. She's very beautiful and we all got along really well at first and did everything we could to make her feel welcome. She's made countless comments about me, but there's a character limit, so I'll just quote some here for reference. One is, your body is too misshapen for that dress. You sound like you've been smoking for the last 10 years. You should wear contacts for your dull eyes. Your oily skin bothers me. Have you considered lip fillers? I'll pay for you. Online relationships work best for you because they can't see you close up. She would only make the worst of the comments when we were alone, but once she got caught. My brother has a child, 6 male, from a previous relationship, and at one point he actually came in, pushed her away from me and said, "Sarah, OP is beautiful, stop talking about her looks." He was being sweet and jokey about it, but it made Sarah really mad. At one point, I caught my mum crying in the bathroom on one of our trips. My mum and dad broke up around 4 years ago, so Sarah used this against her a lot. I won't specify the situations, but these are some of the things she said to my mum. "You should consider getting butt implants now you're single, because you won't get a man with a flat cake like that. You shouldn't wear any foundation because you can really see every wrinkle in your skin and it makes you look older than you already are." But the worst is what she said in front of me and my nephew after that. My nephew gave my mum a hug and said, "Grandma, you're so beautiful." To which Sarah snorted and said, "Yes, beautiful apart from those yellow teeth." Skip to recently, my mum has been trying to get Sarah and my brother to bring my nephew down for a trip, but Sarah's been ignoring her. I checked my mum's phone and realised that Sarah's been ignoring her messages randomly on and off for years now. I messaged my brother and asked him about it. He said Sarah has been trying to talk to mum, but that she was being ignored. I knew this was a lie. I lost my patience. I told my brother everything about the comments. A few minutes later I got a message from Sarah saying that she was only trying to be a good sister to me and that she was heartbroken that I'd taken comments the wrong way. She denied everything and said that it was best that I didn't visit her anymore. My bro told me I was selfish and that I can visit my nephew whenever I want, but that he and Sarah are done with me and my mum. I also found out a few hours ago that Sarah had been trying to persuade my mum to become a gold digger and gave her tips on how to give men just enough to keep them interested, get their money and then bail. Was I the arsehole? My family think I'm lying and that my mum is enabling me to tear the family apart. Edit, this is not the first time I confronted her or told my brother. She would pass it off as helpful advice, give me a cuddle and move on. My brother said that that's just the way she is because she's passionate about health and beauty. I'm not a confrontational person, especially not against someone who was adored by my family. Also, there is a lot of concern for my nephew and I assure you, he is only with Sarah once a week and that is not spent alone with him. He has an incredible support system with the rest of his family and yes, I agree, he is an absolute angel. Now in this one in the comments are mainly not the arsehole, simply because, you know, it's obvious. And a lot of the people are saying you need to get evidence to expose her because obviously people didn't believe her right now, so get screenshots and things like that. But I'm going to turn this one straight to you guys. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 2. And our next story is from More Defiant. Am I the arsehole for telling my 18-year-old he can't have his girlfriend over after I caught them doing it in the pool? I work at a lot and my younger sons are in summer camp. My oldest graduated from high school and wants to spend the summer hanging out with his friends and girlfriend until he starts college online. He worked exceptionally hard to get into the school he got into, so I'm allowing him to do whatever instead of working or babysitting his younger brothers. It was a rare day that I was able to come home early. I did see his girlfriend's car in our driveway and assumed they were watching Netflix or something. When I came in, I could see the patio door was open and heard splashing. I went out to say hi and saw my son and his girlfriend going at it like a porn movie. In fact, my son was recording it with his phone. He looked at me like he saw a ghost and all I said was, "So this is what you do all day?" I didn't mean it as a joke or to be serious, it's all I could come up with. I went into my home office and they argued for a minute and his girlfriend left. My son confronted me later and told me that was not cool to creep up on him like that. I reminded him it was my house and what if his mother or brothers walked in on him? He said he wasn't doing anything wrong and he wasn't a little kid. He said I was being stupid and his sex life was none of my business. So I told him since I had no idea if they were doing it on other places like the kitchen table or my bed, I couldn't trust him, so she wasn't allowed over anymore. Edit, as far as the filming, his girlfriend was the one saying, "Get the shot baby." She was fully aware of it. I love it when someone says their sex life is none of your business, yet they're out in the open, in public, clapping it. What the hell? Hell no, I would be pissed off too if I came home to that and someone was in my pool getting jiggy. It's just not on whatsoever. But let's go straight down into the comments to see what's going on down there. Oh God help us. Hello Ripe says, not the arsehole, not in the pool man, that's disgusting. I know the chemicals technically clean the water but still. However, I'd consider a less harsh punishment. Her never being allowed over will either sabotage their relationship or push him away. Though your reasoning is sound, how do you know any service in the house is safe? And I'm not sure what a good compromise would be. It's a fair point there, which I didn't consider about pushing the son away as well. Fair enough. Human DHF says, not the arsehole, there's a difference between don't have sex and don't have sex in communal areas. Evolution Cocktail says, not the arsehole, adults have sex behind closed doors. He can't figure that out, so he shouldn't be having sex. Also, talk to your son about videotaping his encounters. Be sure that he has request and consent from his partners to film, and especially if he wants to post it. Open Imagination 9 says, not the arsehole, damn kid making a porno in your pool. Make sure he erases that video and give him another safe sex lecture. They have their whole life ahead of them. It's not time yet to be making babies. Ah, God, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 3. Our next story is from Problem. Am I the arsehole for wanting to wear my cultural traditional clothes to my future wedding? Hey Reddit, I recently got engaged to the love of my life, and we've gotten started on wedding planning. So as a background, we live in the USA. She is white and I am a first generation Nigerian immigrant turned citizen. In my tribe, when getting married to a Westerner, it is customary to have 2 weddings. The first is a Western wedding, classic American wedding. Basically what we all know when we think of a wedding. The second is a traditional wedding, where we use our tribal customs, i.e. wear our tribal clothing and everything that comes with being an Igbo man. Haha. Well, my fiance said that she'd prefer to just have one wedding, because the traditional wedding would usually have to take place in Nigeria. I understand the global situation we're in right now, so I agreed with her, but I told her that I'd still like to wear my traditional clothing. This is what it'd ideally look like. My mum knows a really good seamstress who can get it done for me. Well, basically, her problem boils down to me standing out like a sore thumb, that she thinks is not appropriate for an occasion such as a wedding. I tried to explain to her that in my culture, this clothing is regal attire and is seen as very classy by those in my culture. Look, she is not a bridezilla, let's get out of the way right now. I've handed all the reins to her with regards to planning our wedding, because that's what she wants. But this is the only thing I asked for, and she's not letting me have it. It really means a lot to me to be connected to my culture. I was born in Nigeria, but I have lived 90% of my life here in the States. But I speak Igbo. I eat Nigerian food whenever I'm able to, and this is very important to me. I do apologise if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Is it Igbo? I'm not sure how else you can pronounce that, so I do apologise if I got that wrong. But let's have a look at this regal attire. And I think that is awesome. I'd love that. I'd love to see that at a wedding. I think that's fantastic clothing. And I think it'd be such a shame for you not to wear that there. And like you said several times through this post, it's your culture. She can't disrespect your culture like that. She just needs to accept it, and I think that's all there is to it. Otherwise, I see bigger problems in the future, you know. But let's go down into the comments to see what we can find. Green Seraphima says, your fiance might not be a bridezilla, but she sure as hell doesn't respect your culture. Why marry someone who expects to hide yourself and assimilate? What do you think that's going to mean for your children? Not the arsehole, but you're the arsehole if you let her disrespect you like this. Lightwood Orchestra says, not the arsehole, and this is a major red flag about your fiance. She's being really disrespectful to your culture, and that's a huge issue. She doesn't want you to stick out at your wedding. The outfit is absolutely gorgeous and you'll look great in it. If she can't get on board with this, I would seriously look differently at her character. Max Spring Puma says, not the arsehole, it's your wedding, you're supposed to stick out like a sore thumb. Like other people have said, you need to sit down and make sure your culture and customs won't be pushed aside in your future together. If you have kids, you should be teaching them their language, dress and other bits of culture. Now what do you guys think of this story? What do you think of that wedding attire? I think it's absolutely awesome. Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 4. And our next story is from Pork Throwaway. Am I the arsehole for taking my neighbour's dog to the pound because it keeps breaking through the fence and tears up my yard? My neighbour's bought a young dog about a month or 2 ago, and it's not been going well at all. English is also not my first language, so sorry for typing mistakes. At first they kept it inside, however they ended up getting a load of complaints from neighbours, me and my wife included, because it would literally bark non-stop the moment they left their house. Of course that is annoying enough during the day, but they often work nights, which made sleeping near impossible. So they built the dog a doghouse outside, and sure enough the barking stopped. However, it started digging holes under the fence and eventually got into my yard. My wife is big on gardening, so nearly started crying when we went home and everything was dug up, torn up and broken, including the furniture. I immediately grabbed the dog, went over to the neighbours, handed them the dog and had a go at them. I got a half-assed apology and a promise it wouldn't happen again, but they refused to pay us back for the stuff their dog had broken. This repeated itself a few days later. Same thing happened. Half-assed apology, no paying back. However, this time I told them if it happened again, I would take the dog to the pound myself, along with a bunch of insults. I was extremely angry. Imagine getting your garden wrecked twice within a week. A week later, it happened again. This time, their dog chewed through the fence itself and wrecked the garden again. So I grabbed the dog and took it to the pound. Not a kill pound, no worries. When the neighbours came home, they started looking frantically and soon realised my garden was wrecked again and came to me. I told them I did exactly what I threatened I would do should it happen again. They lost their shit and demanded I tell them where I took it, threatened to sue and everything. So after making them panic for a bit longer, I told them where I took it and told them that I'd be taking them to court for the damages and gave them a rough estimate of how much they owed me, which caused them to start crying as they do not have that kind of money. Anyhow, they got their dog back and I've been in contact with a buddy of mine who is a lawyer. Regardless, the neighbours were filled in on what happened and most agree that I am in the right. However, several have said that what I did was way over the line and suing them would be even worse given their financial predicament. They work in the restaurant business, so have had their hours cut. So here I am asking for judgment. Having been a dog owner for most of my life, I fully realise how terrified they must have been. But in my opinion, they fully deserved it and I shook them awake. As far as suing them, not part of my question, but I'd like judgment on that too. Edit, unfortunately I can't reply to any more comments as I got a 3-day ban for responding to a troll. Meanwhile, the troll is allowed to keep posting. Well done mods, you proved your worth as always. You know, in this situation, OP gave them plenty of chances. They tried their best to give them a chance. Like 3 times this happened. And he did tell them if it happens again, I'm taking them to the pound. And they didn't even pay him for any of the damages the first 2 times. So I can understand how OP would be absolutely pissed off in this situation. And the thing is, if you can't look after your dog, you don't deserve it. I'm sorry, but you just don't. It's not fair on the dog either. And in my opinion, they can cry all they want. As I said before, you give them plenty of chances. And I would do exactly the same in the situation and I'd want my money back for the damage they caused. One time I'd maybe let them get away with it, but after that, nope. But let's go down into the comments to see what we can find. Vico Stab says, not the arsehole, you warned them twice. You said you would do it. The dog wrecked your garden and your fence. It would have been everyone sucks here if you hadn't told them which pound it was. Get your money back and make sure they don't do it again. OP replies to this saying, yeah, we're not talking like $100 worth of damages either. A whole bunch of plants, flowers, pots, ornaments, a small fruit tree, the fence, the barbecue, a table and 2 sets of outdoor furniture. Means we're talking around $3,000 to $3,500. If it happens again, they shouldn't be surprised if their tyres are suddenly flat. Absolute Curveball says, not the arsehole, maybe you shouldn't have made them panic for a bit longer before telling them where you took the dog. But after the dog destroying your property 3 times and the neighbours refusing to take accountability, they deserve to have to face consequences. OP replies again saying, well that was extra punishment for having the balls to threaten to sue me after all of that. And the burnt curly fly replies to that saying, you're the arsehole just for that alone, so close to not the arsehole. Enthu Patani says, not the arsehole, dogs are like kids, you shouldn't have one for the sake of having them. And Diak replies, not the arsehole, you gave them plenty of chances and warning, definitely take them to court. If it happens again, call animal control and let them handle it. And for the final time guys, I'm going to turn it to you. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 5. As always guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for looking after my channel and me. It is truly appreciated. The time out your day that you take to listen to these. It blows my mind. It really does. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And I will see you in the next one. Take care guys. Much love to you.